I'm Angelo Tsarouchas, and I've been doing comedy for a long, long time. I started off really doing it in Ottawa many years ago, and I've had the luxury to travel the whole world. Sitcoms, movies, cruise ships, theaters, you name it. But I love what I do. The truth is, perception is far more deadlier than reality. And that, I learned, is applied even with comedy. When you tell a story in comedy, I told you a story that was a true story. It doesn't necessarily mean it's funny or not funny. That's not the point. That actually happened. So I derived from it afterwards that the other guys would have believed that I did sleep with her as opposed to me telling them I didn't. They didn't want to believe that. So they're thinking, oh, this is Angelo's way of saying, But what's funny about comedy is that when you're on stage and you're actually doing comedy, you're describing. I've learned one thing is that if you're talking about a story, like I'm talking about living in LA or taking French school lessons in Ontario, or my mom and dad, or whatever the case may be, as long as the audience will believe the conviction that I'm telling them the joke, and that's the same indifference as drama or comedy. You can't just go there and say the joke. You got to say it to them like, this happened. Now, the Larry Horowitz, who was a great teacher and a great Canadian comedian, was one of the best technical working comedians, and I learned a lot from working with Larry Horowitz, and that was going way back in the late 80s and 90s. And he always said, and Larry would say this, he says, always tell a joke like it's the first time you're telling it. And I think that's part of the secret, right? That's part of and the audience feels like you're just telling us the story, and it comes out sometimes. So that's why I always tell people, they go, what do you learn about comedy? I learned, even tonight, something happened. And that's why I'm inspired. Something happened tonight. I said a tagline without realizing, go on, about the Titanic thing, not realizing that's part of the song, and that the audience picked up on that, and I didn't. I go, why are they laughing? Oh shit, go on. Go on. The fucking song, Titanic, they got it. So how dumb is it that I built a tag into the premise in my own joke that I didn't realize that the crowd got tonight? That's comedy. And I think that's something, at least I was aware enough of it to see that and realize that, so. And it was good. It's a good show tonight, Damon is funny and Adam's funny. Very inspired by Adam. I mean, he just had a heart transplant and guy's on stage doing comedy. Comics, actors, musicians, fuck off. This guy had a fucking heart transplant. I met him at the Halifax Festival with a machine that was keeping him alive. He's got 2 kids. 3 weeks after a heart transplant, this guy was back on stage. I'm not saying he's a hero, but I admire his courage and and his insight that he overcomes this and does that. To me, that is, and I'm not saying just because he's a comedian, and anybody, whether they're a service officer or a teacher or a doctor, whatever, to come over something like that. And the guy's here with us, and you saw him, you guys were filming him, went on stage, and he's up there telling jokes. And you can tell when he tells the crowd I had a heart transplant, they think there's a setup. And then there's that moment of truth that comes out, no, I did. And then the crowd realizes, because he's true to his conviction. He told the audience I had a heart transplant. They may think, okay, it's a setup for a joke, but then when they see it's real, then once they know it's real, then it's believable what's going to come after. And that's what Adam did so well tonight. He set that precedent, because that's not something every average comic comes out and says. I've worked with different comedians, and I'm not saying, they overcome different disabilities or whatever, but this is like, I admire his courage and the fact that he goes on. And I think now I see him and I'm like, I'll complain about shit. I'll be on a cruise ship. I'm fucking bored. I'm this. Fuck, come on, man. It's a blessing to do what you love and get paid for it. I know it sounds like a cliche, but it's true. And this is proof to me right here in Calgary. A guy like Adam can go up on stage, and yeah, it impresses me. His courage impresses me. He said, we came off stage, I talked to him. He goes, I tried a couple of new jokes tonight. Good for you, man. Keep fucking doing it. Live to 100. You know, that impresses me. And this is something I think, if you get something, I've been on the road a lot. I do miss my family. I miss my daughter. I miss my wife. I miss my friends. But it's what I do. So you have to learn to work within it. And I think as comedy, I had a fun set tonight. That was a fun set. I was going into different directions, but the crowd was with me. So it was fun tonight to do this. You know, I did like about an hour. And I looked at my watch. I go, am I doing too much here? Like, you know, sometimes we're narcissists, right? Comedians. We just go blah, blah, blah. We go on for, you know, could have gone on for another hour, but we have another show to do. No, so you're funny. The question that I've been asked is, what keeps me going? First of all, I love what I do. So it doesn't really feel like work. That's the truth. I really do love what I do. I love interacting with the fans and working with cool people. I do. There's days where I hate it. There's days I want to quit. I feel lonely. I feel like it's not going anywhere. You know, just being honest, I think there's days where you're like, what am I doing here? You know, I mean, but then I measure it in a way where, well, wait a second. You're doing what you love to do. You're getting paid for it. And I think it's fatigue. And the reason I do it is because I support my family. I'm in debt. I married a woman with a spending disorder. Okay, I'm joking a little bit, but there's some truth to it. And the truth is, it's nice to do something you love and pay your bills. A lot of people don't have that luxury. And for me, I think it's the travel. If I have one complaint, it'll be travel. Sometimes it's hard. Like last Tuesday, I was in Barbados. Then, you know, Wednesday I was in LA, and Thursday I was in Calgary. So it's just, and then Monday I'll be there, then I'll be in Moncton, then I'll be in Manchester, New Hampshire. It just goes on and on. But it doesn't matter anymore. It's like getting on an airplane is like getting on a school bus going to school, or getting on the subway to go to work. So I look at it as a longer distance to get to work. So that's the only thing I don't like about my job, is traveling all this time and being away from my family a lot. But I do love what I do, and I feel blessed with what I'm doing, and I still feel relevant, and that's very important. I think you want to still feel like you're relevant and you're contributing to what people want to hear, and making people laugh and connecting with people, and I'm still doing it. So I'll keep doing this as long as I can connect and be relevant. You know, you don't want to be that guy who's just bitter and angry and whatever. So, but I'm a comedian. I'm proud of it, and I'll keep doing it until I die.